This is a comparison of 3 super popular and very comparable flat pedals for mountain biking. I've spent a lot of time on each of these and I like each of them for their own different reasons. We've got the CrankBrothers Stamp 7, the OneUp pedals, and Xpedo Tridents here. First off, we'll get them weighed up here. The Xpedo's 178 grams. The OneUp is 192. And the CrankBrothers 191. Stick around because I'm going to tear apart the internals as well, just so you can see what's going on inside of each one. But on the outside, just comparing these, they've all got that sharp style pin to them with the threads on it. Really grip into the shoes. I typically ride a flat pedal, something like a 510 Freerider Pros. So having that sticky rubber and then these sharp pins, the grip is just amazing with that. As far as the pin adjustment goes, you've got access on the OneUp and the Xpedo from the back side with an Allen key to adjust those. And then with the stamps, they're the style where you need to get on the inside. That can be problematic once you ride these for a while. These fill up with mud and dirt, and sometimes it's hard to get in there to make adjustments. But I'm typically not adjusting these too much. As far as concave goes on these pedals, you can see the profile there, higher pins on the outside, lower on the inside. The CrankBrothers. With the OneUps, they're pretty much straight across the top with the pin placement there. You could adjust those higher and lower if you wanted to get a more concave feel to it. And then on the Xpedo, a slight concave with the shorter pins on the inside and longer pins on the outside. As for the shapes of the pedals, you can see they've all got kind of an angle to them. And that really helps deflect off of rocks when you're pedaling. You kind of see the angle there, the angle on the outside. So from the outside, these all look pretty similar. They have a similar design with the spindle running through the middle of the body of the pedal there. So let's get into the inside of these and just see what the differences are there. They all do use the hex key to install or remove from the crank arm. So I've got the 3 different pedals torn apart here just to give you an idea of what the internals look like. So with the Stamp 7 over here, basically runs with a bushing. So it's got this main bushing up here, and then on the inside there's a bushing that also that spindle floats in. You can feel it get some tension in there as you're pushing it in. Also worth noting, this one's pretty easy to take apart. It's just these 2 screws here, then you can pull that out. So super easy to service. These actually, you can buy a replacement kit here to replace these. And then you do need to fish that bushing out on the inside. And you have this little access where you can lube the pedals, or it's helpful to get that bushing out as well by removing that. So that's the CrankBrothers. Over here with the OneUp, it's got a bearing in it with a bushing. So it's got the bushing on the end here and then the bearing. You can buy a service kit for these as well. So that just slides in there. You can feel that the tolerances are really tight on these. You can feel the air actually getting trapped in there as you push them in. So that bearing rides on the outside, and that oversized bearing is nice. Just gives such a smooth feeling. It's not going to wear out as fast as the bushings are, especially with the majority of the pressure being on the inside of the pedal here. So to disassemble this, you do need a special tool, cassette remover, if you've got one of these, and that basically just removes this threaded piece. Here on the inside, you can see the little notches in there where that cassette tool attaches, and then over the top of that there is a bushing just to keep the dirt out. of the bearing there. So that's the OneUp. And then the Xpedo, it has a couple of pieces that are removed. So this piece here screws in, and it is pretty difficult to get in there to service these, but that piece screws in there. It does have some holes in there, but it was so tight that I had to find a small wrench to be able to fit around there to remove it. And then on the inside, it also has a bearing like the OneUp, but it fits on the outside. So as that spindle's in there, the bearing's resting on the outside, and then on the inside is the bushing. And you can see where the bushing rides in the side there. So these Xpedo are a little more difficult to disassemble as well, because you've got to just get a bit with the right size in there to install this screw in the end. It can be a little difficult to just reassemble these after you've serviced them and greased them up. So you saw how these all went together, how they disassembled, how you can service them. Also wanted to talk about some of the pin placement. You can see the different pins, with the design 3 across the bottom here. This has got 4 offset across the bottom, 3 across the bottom with 2 off to the side. I think that really comes down to a personal preference. I don't know that I could notice, if I put my foot on one versus the other, if the pins caught in different spots. I know some different shoes have different soles on them and do catch in different spots, and sometimes you'll put your foot down, and because these are so grippy with like a 510 rubber, you put your foot on there, it's not moving. You've got to kind of peel it off and then replace it back down. So you might find a personal preference where you like your foot on there, but it's hard to say one's better than the other. You do only get 1 pin on the inside here, and that one is adjustable from the inside, so you can't access it from the back. But that can kind of adjust that concavity of the pedal. Just when you put your foot down, you're going to catch more on the outer pins if you lower that one down or if you raise it. You do have a pin on the inside here, which you don't have here on the OneUps. So it really comes down to personal preference. You've got 2 here on the inside that are adjustable for the height as well. And this one actually in the pedal, you can see it's a little bit thicker on the outside than it is on the inside, as opposed to the OneUp, pretty much straight across. And then the same with the Xpedo. So overall, I think these are all great pedals. I've ridden all of them for years now. Haven't had any major issues. I do service them from time to time, just make sure they're well greased. Haven't even needed to use the service kits. I did a video on servicing these if you want to check that out, just to see how you replace the bushings, but it didn't even need it. I just wanted to show how that was done. If you're really looking for something that's going to last as long as possible, possibly without having to service it, the ones with the bearings in them are likely going to last longer than bushings. Those are going to wear out faster. So that's something to keep in mind. But as far as oversized flat pedals go, I think these are hard to beat. Would recommend any of these to my friends or family.